Pascal Amity is a young albino with glasses about 20 years old. He lives alone in a small house near the university of his city. It was noticeable that he had 3 great talents: his footwork for the sport, his greatest passion, imagination, and drawing style. There were people that he considered as friends. He got on pretty well with them, but when they launched into a discussion, he always felt sidelined. He wasn't very popular at his university. On the contrary, he was prized because he was often chosen as the scapegoat by the bully of the settlement, Gord Howes. Each day, at any given moment, he was martyred by the bully in front of everyone, and in front of his friends. But they let Gord do it. Without any interfering from them, they didn't come to help the poor albino. Was it because they were afraid? Or was it because they didn't care? Pascal didn't know the answer, but he opted for the second option. He could withstand all these pressures by retreating into a bubble during the sports sessions. He loved football. He was the best in his team. Well, the whole university. It was his dream to become a greater football player. That is why when a terrible accident happened while on one of his sports sessions, he had to stop to put pressure on one of his legs so much, almost at the risk of internal bleeding from the muscles. He was struck with the thought that he will never realize his dream. The news reached the bully's ear. It was a new martyr for his catalog, for his favorite whipping. And then he began to mock the albino again. As the days passed, Pascal became more closed in himself. He was interested in nothing or anyone. He began, nevertheless, to have a new hobby in addition to writing and drawing: black magic. He began to seriously take an interest in the occult science, that he even began to draw symbols such as the circle with a cross, or a circle with a triangle and a square in the center. It amused him to imagine any kind of spell that he could put on that asshole Gord. But he didn't believe in any of this. It was bullshit, he thought. He continued to draw, write, and perform black magic until a day when he wanted to try and summon a demon for a good laugh. He summoned a real demon in his room. And that's what was happening today. The pages of the book were flying everywhere in the room. Pascal couldn't believe it. This thing, so huge, came out of the drawing on the floor, where he let a few drops of blood fall. But this thing was here. So demons really exist? All those legends about them were real? Many questions were running around the head of the frightened young man, who was sitting on the floor without moving, with his eyes fixed on the demon. The creature had a skin color, very dark blue. His hair was purple. Only a part of his body was there. He could see this because his lower body was still in the circle. Well, better said, in the other world. 2 large, scratch-sharp legs were resting on the ground, leaving cracks in the floor. His head was this gigantic, dark blue thing. His eyebrows were the same color as his hair. He had a sort of diamond embedded in his forehead, and in this diamond was an eye that stared at the young human. His real eyes were red spirals that could hypnotize anyone who looked deep inside them. But it wasn't that which scared a lot of Pascal. No, it was the smile. That huge, creepy smile with sharp yellow teeth that freaked out the albino. Oh, and he had little arms under each cheek. The demon looked around, examining where he was, and then stared at Pascal again.
"You're the one who summoned me?"
Holy fuck! It speaks! But Pascal still didn't move.
"I said, you're the one who summoned me? Answer me."
Yeah, answered the young albino while standing up.
So, you want to be a demon like us, right?
Wait, what? Pascal asked with surprise.
What? You know that I'm a human demon maker, no?
Said the demon, raising his head up.
Don't you dare tell me that you summoned me just for fun. The last one who did that looks now like a mozzarella pizza. You don't want your face being like a pizza, right?
Yelled the demon maker. No. I want to be a demon, lied the young man.
Good. So let's get started. It's time to change destiny.
Pascal had no choice. He must become a demon if he didn't want to die.
First, tell me your talents.
Well, I love to write and draw. I used to be good at football, but I can't use my legs much anymore.
Ha 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 ha. Sucks to be you. Well, let's see. So if you like to write things, I think... Wanna have the power of changing destiny, kiddo?
Asked the dark creature. What is it? The human asked.
Oh, I see that you're interested. Seeing that you love to write, what would you say of being able to change the destiny of people? This is a great way to get revenge on the people you hate. You just need a pencil, a sheet of paper, have the full name of your victim, and write a new destiny for him on an unlimited time.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And like sometimes you'll need to run, and like you can't run anymore. I give you the power to fly,
smiled the demon. Thanks. Being a demon is cooler than I thought. Where do I sign in?
Just put these,
said the monster, and a pair of sneakers appeared in the hand on the face. Something original was on the shoes, small bullhorns on each side of the object. They looked kinda cool.
Be careful. Once you put these shoes on, even if you can fly, you can't play football again. Got it memorized? If you kick a ball with those, these horns will dig into your feet and inject a lethal poison in it.
Smiled again the demon. Fine, just give me those.
Here you go,
said the monster. He threw the sneakers. Pascal caught them and began to put them on under the amused look of the demon maker. Now what? He asked. The shoes began to glow brightly while the demon opened his mouth wide and burst out laughing. Pascal was thrown back violently, struck the wall, and fainted. Pascal woke up the next day with difficulty. Had he fallen asleep on the floor? Dressed? By the way, what time was it? 7:30. An hour before class. What a weird dream, he murmured. He got up and noticed that he wore shoes with horns. It's at this moment that he remembered the demon, the pact, and the changing destiny. Was all of that real? Nah. I just bought those awesome shoes, and with my overflowing imagination and the black magic stuff, I made up this entire story. That's all, he smiled to himself. An hour later, he was in college. He had suffered the usual humiliation from Gord when he put his foot inside the institution. It was a history lesson. Fuck. So annoying. He thought of all the humiliations inflicted on him by this big brute, and how he felt powerless over the fact that he had no way to avenge himself. And then he thought of his dream. The power to change the destiny of people on unlimited time. And it only needed the full name of the victim. Well, he knew that the bully's name was Gord House, so he loses nothing by trying, right? He took a pencil and started to write. Gord Howes rose from his table to approach his teacher. He walked to the board and started to dance, the dance of the ducks, while singing Hakuna Matata. Pascal chuckled after writing this. The teacher noticed him and asked him what was so funny about Adolf Hitler. That was a pretty embarrassing moment for the young albino. During the pause, Gord wasn't there to annoy the albino. One of Pascal's friends came to tell him what happened in his class. The story matched perfectly with what Pascal had written. So it really works? I really am a new demon? I've got power now. I can change destiny, he thought. He smirked. Hey John, isn't it tonight that Gord is having his boxing training? He asked to his friend. Well, yeah. Why? Nothing. Just be sure that he'll leave me alone tonight after school, he said quietly. And tell me, I'm sure that jerk has already said to the class what he wants to be later, huh? He told his dream for the future. Yeah, he said he wanted to be a great pilot like his father. Why? Nothing, he said again as his friend looked weirdly at him. He took out a paper and a pencil. During his boxing, Gord Howes, sure of himself, challenged the best boxer in the club for a fight. The fight ends quickly with a punch to his left eye from his opponent. Except that when Gord stood up, he noticed that he couldn't see from his left eye. He's blind from that eye. The next day, Gord wasn't in class throughout the day. It seems that he went to see the optometrist about his eye. But Pascal didn't give a fuck. It was a quiet day. It was so long that he didn't have one. The bully came back the next day. The albino then had the bad idea to get back at him. For once, he was the bully. When the brute saw him, he glared at him. "What do you want, jerk?" Gord asked. "I heard that you lost sight from your left eye, so you can't be a pilot anymore," smirked the albino. "Guess what? We're in the same boat," he laughed. The bully turned and violently punched Pascal in the face. His glasses broke and his nose and mouth started bleeding. The new demon was in shock. He didn't expect that. "I'm not in the same boat as a freak like you. I would never be like you. And you know why? 'Cause you're a freak. That's what I call people who have white hair when they're young. Freaks. And you're the most pathetic of all. I'm sure it's entirely your fault. My eye, that girl's disease over there, the global warming, everything is your fault, you piece of shit," yelled the bastard. Pascal just glared at him, which makes Gord angrier. The bully raised his foot, and that's when the teachers came to stop him. Pascal's friends tried to help him get up, what he rejected. The albino just took a piece of paper and a pen. Gord Howes, so frustrated, gets out of the building while insulting the teachers behind him. But when he crossed the street, he did not see the oncoming car at full speed. The car hit him with great force, making him fly 10 meters away. Blood on the road and on the windshield, every witness screaming with terror, but he survived the accident. Everyone was screaming and calling the ambulance, and all kinds of stuff like that. Pascal just smiled and said, "I'll give him the death blow." That night, Gord was in very bad condition after the accident of this morning. He was alone in a hospital room, wondering how he could have had so much bad luck in a few days. The light was off and no one would come to visit him at this time, so he decided to sleep. But before he could close his eyes, a voice called out. "Who's there?" yelled the patient. He then noticed that the windows were open and a hooded man was next to it. Did he enter through the window? But this is impossible. He was on the 3rd floor. "What do you want?" he asked again. Well, don't you recognize me, bitch? Said the hooded guy. By removing his hood, his white hair shone under the light of the moon. Pascal, what? The shock of seeing the albino was so strong that Gord remained literally dumb. Gord was trying to talk, to scream, but not a sound was coming out of his mouth. Pascal just approaches him with an evil smile upon his face. Look at you. You're really screwed up. But tell me where it's hurt. Maybe the leg? By saying that, the albino punched the broken leg of his victim. He laughed when he saw the suffering face of the asshole that bothered him for so long. Or maybe the arm! He did the same. Gord was crying. He was suffering and calling for help, but no one was hearing him. The only thing in his mind was why Pascal looked so scary right now. He's supposed to be a wimp. Gord was afraid. The albino was laughing at every punch he did to the bully's body. I'm bored now, said the demon. He went to a cupboard and pulled out a syringe. He emptied its contents on the floor and sucked the air in with it. By seeing this, Gord's eyes widened. It says that if air remains in the blood, we die. But I wonder if it hurts or not. Hey, don't look at me like that. You're gonna regret the first day you ever made fun of me. Now let's see, where do I stick this? Aha, here! He yelled, planting the needle into a vein in the patient's neck. Gord was fidgeting in all directions and stopped suddenly. He wasn't breathing anymore. He was dead now. Is that all? How boring! Suddenly, a night watchman opened the door. I received the call. What's going on? What the fuck? He yelled. Pascal was about to jump through the window. The watchman saw him and his white hair. Don't move! We're on the third floor, don't you? Pascal jumped. Wait! He leaned in the window and saw that the young albino was flying away. All security, call the police. We have a young albino to find in the city. He killed a patient. I repeat, we have a young albino to find. Pascal was already on the other side of the city. He had decided to leave. He took a liking to the other suffering. There are so many dreams to destroy in neighboring towns. He would love it to see people suffer and that they have no chance to realize their dream. That night, Pascal Amity died. He was now a demon. He grabbed the skin of his face and pulled it. Everything detached itself from his face. He felt nothing. He took his cell phone and took a picture of his new face. He jumped a bit when he saw himself, but soon acquired a taste for it. His skin was blue and his hair was still white. His right eye was now a white X, and the left one is a white spiral. He still had his beard and mustache, but what he preferred above all was his smile. A big, creepy, sharp-toothed smile. It makes him remember the demon to which he owed all. These powers, this new face, this new life. He's no more Pascal Amity. He was now the author.